Hello everybody, my name is Sheila SL Reads, and today I'm going to be going to the release event for the second book in the SHAH series by Roshani Chokshi, which will be SHAH and the Song of Death. Since I am absolutely in love with Roshani Chokshi, and one time she complimented my eyeliner on Twitter, I'm going to be doing a short get ready with me, which will be very sped up, so you have no idea what I'm actually doing, but my eyeliner will be lit. Doing my makeup. I've never successfully done a time lapse of that, but I think it went pretty well. I'm so excited to meet Roshani Chokshi and might die in the process. I think I'm gonna bring all of my books with, so I'm just gonna go grab those so I can show them to you. So the thing to note is that I do own all of Roshani Chokshi's books that are out at the moment, except that I own Gilded Wolves on Kindle, so I cannot get her to sign that. Maybe I'll go to another signing in the future and I'll actually have that as like a physical book and I can get her to sign that. But the ones that I do have, I'm going to start with the first one, The Star-Touched Queen, which is a lovely sort of Persephone and Hades retelling, but with Hindu mythology characters, so the god of death from Hindu mythology. It's amazing. I got this at BookCon a few years ago, and that was when I first exposed myself to the beauty that is Roshani Chokshi's writing. The next book that I have by her is A Crown of Wishes, which is the companion in this duology, so it follows a different character in this universe, the sister of the main character from The Star-Touched Queen. It is also amazing. Also, the cover is beautiful. I was obsessed with this. The next book that I have is Star-Touched Stories, which are novellas and short stories about the characters from this universe. I have read one of them, I believe. I've read Death and Night, which is the first story. But the final book that I have by her is Arusha and the End of Time, which is the first book in the Pandava Quartet. This is the first book in the series that the release party is for, so that's going to be the second book in the series. I'm very excited. The cover looks amazing. I'll probably vlog some more as we go. I am so excited. I might just pass out, in all honesty. So I will see you guys later.
You see that keychain? I have that. And I see you around here, Robert. So I'm just, get out! Siblings are mean. But the reason why my little sister has that name is because when she was born, she was actually very ill, to the point where my family thought that we might lose her. And so my ba said, ba means grandmother, for those of you who don't know. My grandmother said to change her name so that death would not find her. Very creepy, and also sounds extremely disorganized of death. What are they gonna do? Like walk through these hospitals and just be like, address check, photo ID check, name. This name is all wrong, my job is very hard, I'm going home, and he just left. On one occasion, I have asked my sister, do you know your real name? The name you should have had? And she's like, no. I'm like, all right, fair. Maybe she's lying. So one time, I jumped on her bed at 4 a.m. and I said, tell me your true name, and she kicked me in the face. And I start with that story not just because it's an example of our rich shared heritages and the fact that what I love about what I get to do and the stories I get to write is that I can tell you these little things, and I can tell you that it is the truth, that it is a family secret passed down. And I can tell you things like, this is part of my own, this is part of me. And I love that story because my relationship with my little sister is very good now. But it definitely inspired a lot of things that appear in Arusha and the Song of Death. How many of you have bit your siblings? Yeah, that's good. I have my own family in the back. I saw a lot of them raise their hand very quickly. I know, Shivani, I saw you do it. Just, this is that kind of sibling relationship. Because every single story in the Bandhava series is about Aru finding a new sibling. And then after that, if you're a perfectionist, you don't know when to stop. So you keep revising, revising, and revising. And somebody has to like yank the book and pry it out of your cold, dead claws as you're yelling, it's not ready, it's not ready. So that is why the ending for me is hard. Because when you finish writing a book and it goes out into the world, in a way, it is no longer yours. And you have to make peace with that. Once that book is done, it goes on to live, hopefully, 1,000 lives in the hearts and minds of readers. And I can't control what you think about it, sadly. But that is the beautiful thing about making art. So that was the hardest part for me. I see a very eager hand here, yes.
Is Arusha going to be a triad?
Is Arusha going to be a trilogy?
Yeah.
Arusha is currently 4-book series. 4 books in one series. Dun dun dun. I know. But if you know the story of the Mahabharata, you might know that there's not just 4 brothers. There is a it's so good. It's so good. You're gonna love it, or you'll hate it. I don't know. But yes, next question. Hi.
Okay. So, does Draupadi ever lose anything?
So this question, I don't know if you can. Oh, by the way, if you can't hear a question that's being asked, just do this, mostly because it will make me laugh, and 2, then I'll repeat it. Her question was, does Draupadi make an appearance in this series? And Draupadi, if you're not familiar with the source material, is actually the wife of all 5 Bandhava brothers. That is as awkward as you might think. Here is the story of how this thing happened. So, all the brothers are very good looking, blah, blah, blah. And they want to win the hand of a beautiful princess. So, one of the brothers, Arjun, is like, all right, I'm going to get this girl's hand. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to win it. So he goes there and he competes in this thing. I think he has to shoot an arrow or something, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of other guys, and they're like, wow, Arjun's the best. And he's like, yeah, I am the best. And then he brings home his bride. And his mom is in the house. She has no idea what her son is up to. This is like why you need trackers on kids. She has no clue, I guess. And she's praying, she's doing her thing. She's expecting all 4 of her kids to run in and just muck up the house. And so without looking, she hears his steps. And he's like, Mom, I brought something home. And she's like, I just don't have time for you. I'm so tired. She's like, whatever it is, just share it with your brothers. Probably should have said it was a wife, but we did not. And that is how mythology goes. That was a terrible way to explain colonialism. Anyway, but the Philippines was colonized by Spain. And Spain, pretty much, well, it's like if you take a coconut and you hollow out all the meat and you eat it, and then what's left is a shell and some stringy bits. That's sort of what happened. You know the names still of the old Filipino gods and goddesses who are no longer worshipped. You know what the original script by Bayan looked like. You know that there's sometimes old poems about heroes, but you don't know why they did what they did, and they're unfinished. And you know that with a lot of Filipinos, if you've ever met any of us, not only are we short and joyful, but we often have Spanish last names. There's none of what's original left. And so for me, my fear of engaging with Filipino mythology was that it would be taken as fact. And I felt like that was too dangerous, and that I was not nearly qualified enough or educated enough to do that. What's left behind in the Philippines the most are our ghost stories and our tales of monsters and blood-sucking vampires. My favorite one that my mom would tell me at night was the story of Manananggal. Is anybody familiar with who Manananggal is? Let me inform you. All right, Manananggal appeared as this beautiful woman, just like jaw-dropping, traffic-stopping, everything. Manananggal also liked to separate herself at the waist, go flying above rooftops, and then suck your blood when you were sleeping. If you found Manananggal's legs in a banana grove, you should put salt on it. And if you heard this above your roof, well, I hope you had a good dinner, because it was your last. And then my mom would say goodnight, and this is why people wonder why I'm 5'1". That's why. That's why I never got any taller than this. These are terrible bedtime stories. Terrible. But actually, my last book that came out, The Gilded Wolves, was the first time I've written, well, Minnie in Irish on the End of Time is half Filipino. But Enrique in The Gilded Wolves is half Filipino and actively talks and engages about what it means for him to struggle to be part of both cultures. And I put a lot of myself in Enrique. That feeling of, oh, if I can't speak the language, am I really this thing? Oh, but people think I look like this other race. What am I? Who am I? Who do I owe things to? Who do I owe an ethnic allegiance to? And there was something very freeing in writing that story. So I hope to do more one day. But if you want stories by Filipino authors, I highly recommend Paul Kruger. He's got a book coming out called Steel Crow's Saga, which is amazing so far. And all of the short stories by Alyssa Wong. She is a genius. He's possibly one of the nicest human beings, and it's very annoying. I'm like, why are you so nice? You have no... And tall. Why are you tall? I don't like it. But I heard that this was back in 2016, and I was at Dragon Con, which is
that's a thing.
That is a thing.
I need to go.
You need to go. Dragon Con is great. I almost got impaled by some guy carrying around an alien sword. That was fine. But it was interesting to. It's really, really fun to go to these cons professionally, because you're just like, I am here as a professional. May I wear my horns? It's great. So I had heard a whisper that Rick wanted to start a line of books that was like Percy Jackson, but written from different mythologies. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Because I love everything about that. And they were just like, well, it's just a rumor. Who knows if he'll do it? And I waited literally 2 hours, and then I ran home, and I called my agent, and I was like, Tao, we need to do this thing. And she was like, I need you to sit down. I was like, yes, all right, I'll sit down. But also, we really need to do this thing and find out if it's real. And she found out that it was real. And I was like, this is so exciting, woohoo! And then I panicked, because what was I going to write about? So I turned to my first love, which is fan fiction. My earliest fan fiction was about Sailor Moon. And what did I do? I self-inserted me, my best friends, and my sisters as the heroines. And I was like, oh, maybe this is what I wanted to write. And I've always been inspired by tales from the Mahabharata, the Ramayana. And I wanted to play around with expectations. I wanted to flip the script. So instead of Bondhover brothers, well, let's make them girls this time. I think boys get enough attention. Move on. I dressed up as a Demogorgon because I didn't actually want to be an orchid liquor monster, so I was like half Medusa, and I thought I was very clever, but it meant that I had to explain my costume for 5 minutes to every person who asked. Anyway, I was half monster. I had just put the finishing touches on my scales, and I got a call saying, Rick wants the book. So I was like, what? Like to eat or to smash flies with? Like, what's he gonna do with it? He's gonna publish it. Oh, okay. And that was terrifying at first. What made it more terrifying was when they said they want 4 books. I was like, excuse me. And then I literally fell out of my chair. I was like 4 books? Okay, that's cool. That's exactly what I told them I wanted. I was like, ask for as much as you want and then see what happens. They're gonna say no anyway. But they didn't. So, and that was the best. And I cried all my makeup off. Very normal for me, unfortunately. And then that was pretty much how Irish SHAH on the End of Time started. It was 3 chapters. 3! That was terrifying. And then when the finished book was done, we sent it to Rick and my fabulous editor, Steph Lurie. And Rick sent that book back with 1,000 comments. Wow. Okay? Imagine how much I wanted to like unzip the earth, set myself on fire, and fall within it. I was like, Rick Riordan hates this book, therefore I hate me. This is the worst. But it turns out that Rick, being truly Uncle Rick, had taken the time to individually write out LOL. And that's why there were 1,000 comments. It was literally just LOL, ha ha ha, I like the pigeon. Okay. And that's sort of been the experience of working with him. The amazing thing about what he's done is he has taken his incredible platform and he has given it to authors of color who don't normally have that sort of budget available to us or that level of interest in our stories. And he's done the best thing by saying, here's the spotlight, it's mine. I'm gonna stand off to the side. Whatever I can do to boost, cheerlead, guide you in the right direction, I will. And ever since then, it's just been an incredible journey. I don't know how many of you know, but SHAH was optioned for film by Paramount Pictures last year.
Wow.
So that's cool. I have no idea what that means. Nobody knows what it means in Hollywood.
Hello everybody, I just got home from the Roshani Chokshi signing and I'm still kind of, you know, recovering. She was so amazing in person. She was a lot shorter than I was expecting, but she was also just like the nicest person ever. And she signed 5 of my books. Obviously this was release day for SHAH and the Song of Death, which is the 2nd book in the Pandava Quartet, and here is the signature in that one. Oh my god. So overall it was amazing. I got to talk to Roshani as she was signing my books and it was really nice, and I'm really glad that I got to. I congratulated her on getting married. I told her that I've been studying abroad in Italy and she just went on her honeymoon in Italy, and I was like, whoa, we could have seen each other. And I told her that she inspires me to actually try and be a writer, and it was just really nice to hear her talk and get to understand her thoughts on her own characters and on writing itself and how she actually got into writing. And I don't know, it was just very inspiring to hear her. Also, it was so nice to just meet her. I took a picture with her and I love her still so much. It was great. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you pick up this book soon, or any book by Roshani Chokshi really. Besides this, there's of course The Gilded Wolves. If you can, definitely get your hands on this book soon, and if you haven't read this, then read the first one, and it's a great series. It's from the Rick Riordan Presents label, so he's just uplifting own voices authors so that they can write about their own mythologies. And so this is obviously about Hindu mythology. I definitely recommend it. It's amazing. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!